Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be focusing on some certain pairs which I just noticed they have a very specific direction based on fundamental analysis. Without further ado, let's dive into it. Let's take a look at this week. This week we have a lot of information. If I put on all of them, you see that this week is loaded with plenty of information, but this week just started, and on the first day we have CPI for Swiss franc and PMI for US dollar, and we can see the US dollar seems to be printing a good PMI, and also the Swiss franc seems to be printing a not really bad but just same as usual CPI month over month. So this on its own doesn't just give you a full-time view of what is happening in the markets. You have to mix it with some other things, right? It's not just the news. You have to mix the news with every other news that had come out to just get a specific direction of what the economy is trying to say. What is the news trying to say? Let's check it out. Apart from seeing the news from just this two currency pair, we can see that the euro has some other news, and also the Australian dollar has some news. Now, going to the commitment of trader, I do use investmacro.com. This is where I like to get my own COT data from, because it is far more easier for me to read here. I simply come here, I click on COT, and I click on Google Dashboard. So on the dashboard, it is easy for me to read the latest released COT data without stress. But reading it here, though it is without stress, I still do prefer to take it out of this context and utilize it through a calculative measure. I'll be showing you that measure as time goes on within this video. This I'm doing before I even look at the chart. Why? Because I want to see where the commercial traders are placing their trade. I want to know where are they buying, where are they selling, and this is just a short should I call it a short form of what is really happening. You can see that they are reducing a lot of positions in a lot of places compared to some other weeks where they were increasing positions, and the only place we are finding positives in is in the Canadian dollar and in the Bitcoin. So you're bound to see these markets actually make uptrends in the forthcoming weeks, unless these guys reverse their positions swiftly. So diving into my analysis meter, this is my own very analysis meter. So I start with the economic calendar. I copy every single thing on the economic calendar and I place it here. So this is where I do some lots of mathematical calculations. I give it impact value, weight values, and the rest, and I translate that data into each and every currency in the market. So this is for Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, euro, British pound, Japanese yen, New Zealand, and the US dollar. Now, this on its own doesn't just give me a heads up. So what I do is, for me to be able to see everything in one glance, I also pull in the COT data right here. You can see the COT data for each currency. The Mexican peso, even though I do not use it, that is why it's rated as not applicable. But I put all of this and then I switch it up into one dashboard where I can see a lot of things. Now, these determinations here, everything from this point here is based off of Forex Factory's impact calculator, while I personally have a impact calculator of just two, where I call it level field and other field. Why do I have level field and other fields? Why I call it level field and other field is because there are some key news that apply to every economy, and whenever this particular news are bearish or bullish, it creates move for that specific economy regardless of its impact on other currencies and other economy. So these particular ones, I leveled them, I put them out and put them as a level playing field, meaning things like the GDP, the PMI, the CPI values, things like that, unemployment rates, employment rates, those things I put them all into leveled field, because in every economy that particular thing plays a specific role for each and every economy. Though other news do play the same role for every economy, but some have way lesser impact in their economy than other economy. I'm not going to give an example, but let's just continue this video. So what I do is I'm going to give you a sweet quick example. If you come here and you click on level, what I will see are specific news that are being targeted. You can see CPI, retail sales, good trade, job advertisements, unemployment rates, PMI again, CPI quarter trimmed, cash rate, and GDP. And in other economy, they have their own level. So the levels are more like the major news that really affect an economy, regardless of its impact on other markets and other currencies. Let's dive into what this does. So given this exact same level impact across all of them, I then have them here as level field and other fields. So each economy has, this is its impact based on level field, and this is the impact based on other fields. Now I put this alongside my COT data. So these are my COT data, and then these are my bias based on levels, and these are my bias based on others. Now I also have bias based on forest factory, the impact calculator of forest factory. Why I say impact calculator, on forest factory you will see this, you'd find this right here. So when you click on the news, this box right here is the impact calculator. So a red box signals high impact news, a yellow box signal medium impact news, sorry, a brown box, these are brown boxes, the signal medium impact, and this signals low impact. You can see it right here, high, medium, low, and holidays. So what I do is I average the COT data, the level data, and the other biases. I put them together and I create an average of it. That way I can quickly see on average which is the best performing and which is the worst performing. This is how I derived 3 markets that we will be focusing on here, which are the markets which are strongly in a certain direction. Now you can see right here, comparing New Zealand dollar against the Japanese yen, I'm getting a strong bullish reading, meaning very bullish. You can see it telling me 70% chance of being bullish based on when you add the COT positions compared to the bias, the level bias, and then the other bias. And then you can see at the bottom 2 sides, you can see very bearish, very bearish. Now take note, this is not a signal tool. It doesn't tell you buy or sell. It's just telling you based on economic data available, that is the data I provided to it. It's telling me the market should be heading towards a bearish direction and the market should be heading towards a bullish direction. So I'm going to be looking for trades based on my strategy that fits that bias. So with this in mind, I can dive into the charts. But even when diving into the charts, I like to also see one last thing here. So that last thing is usually my currency strength meter, right? Currency strength meter. In as much as this is literally the same thing, but this is quite different because this is focused on the trends in the market. So it's looking at the current trend of the charts to provide this information. I'm trading 3 things here: the New Zealand Japanese yen, the British pound Swiss franc, and the euro New Zealand. So first and foremost, I want to see where the New Zealand is at. You can see the New Zealand right now is currently here, not so strong, but it was always weaker than this prior to today. If I scroll down here, I like this chart because it gives me history, and you can see in recent days the New Zealand dollar has really flown up. But if you pull out the weekly, you will see that the New Zealand dollar has been very below a lot of things for a long time. And with the strength it's gaining, it's bound to come above the US dollar in strength over a period of weeks if it continues in its current direction. So the New Zealand dollar is gaining real strong. The next currency I want to see is the Japanese yen because I'm comparing it against the Japanese yen. Now you can see that on the weekly, the Japanese yen is so far stronger. So if you're trading like weekly trades, you'll be more focused on hoping that the New Zealand dollar doesn't outshine the yen. But then again, it's small drops that makes up the big drop, right? Same thing with the monthly. You can see the New Zealand dollar tilting upwards and just second in place to the Australian dollar, literally fighting for it. But if you come down to the daily, what we see here is an outright shine. You can see the New Zealand dollar really captivating everything, way above second best performing thing alongside the Australian dollar, and then the Japanese yen way below and trying to catch up. So we're looking for bullish reasons. That means we're looking to buy the New Zealand dollar compared to the Japanese yen in this market. What we're going to be looking out for is simply an opportunity, and right here you can see, based on my strategy, I can follow a daily opportunity right here. This to me is a daily chance. So I do use fair value gap from time to time, but I also use fair value areas. I would not be explaining where I learned my strategy from anymore. I think I have given it enough explanation. We're looking at the 1 hour chart. So I'm relying majorly on the 1 hour and the 4 hour, and I am looking for a sharp turn. But alongside with that strategy, I'm also looking at supports and resistance and supply and demand location. So right here is a very clear demand location. As you can see, this shows weakness before the push of price. If you look at it on the 1 hour, you'll find it big brother, small brother round up right here. I like to use the preferred version. You can see this is the clear preferred version. So within this zone, I expect to see price bounce off and move away from this this region into the higher zone. So this might likely happen tonight. I might be asleep when it happens, but I might wake up and see price already giving me a rally. But on the daily, I noticed one issue. There's one big issue which I'm scared of. So this is something I should be watchful of, this high right here, and also this high. So price is finding difficulty to break through this high. That is why it's returning back here, though it did bust through it here by hitting, coming back down and giving me a push, but that push was majorly quickly rejected, and we can see that consolidation around here till price finally found its way down. So we're waiting. The spread is so huge. You can see 18 points. We're waiting for it to move. 18 points, waiting for it to move down and start to move up. This is it for the New Zealand Japanese yen. According to my markets calculator, I am supposed to be shorting the rest of them. Supposed to be looking for shorting opportunities. So the British pound, Swiss franc. But before I do that, I want to just go with everything New Zealand. So New Zealand euro is what I would look at next. Now for the New Zealand euro, on the daily, we have the New Zealand way above, the euro slowly sliding downwards. Obviously on the weekly, we can see the slide down is still showing, while the New Zealand seems to still be gaining very good overall. Another thing I like to look at for situations like this is how well, like really, what is the COT data between such economies, such markets. So I'll slide down here and we're just going to focus on these two pairs right now, the euro and the New Zealand dollar. Alright, so while watching the COT data, over here is the COT data. Now we can see that there are more long percentages and short percentages on the New Zealand, meaning they are going hard on the New Zealand, though they reduce a lot more on the New Zealand dollar and increase their shorting trades. Then they also increase their long, but they increase more of the shorts on euro than they increase the long trades on euro. So they are trusting the euro to go down for a while, though they have more trust in the New Zealand dollar to go down also. This is not really a good move, but taking that into account and looking at what we have on the chart, let's see if we have a bearish move. You can see that they've quite been bearish for a while here, over a couple of days, probably a month or so, almost a month now since April. Been bearish on this market. I was expecting a pull up in this market around here. I was expecting a real pull up here. I think I lost some money last week in this trade, probably. I think I did. Okay, this was the trade that ran away from me. I was supposed to make money from this very small move up here, but the trade kind of ran away from me, and I didn't get filled in due to spread. So I was supposed to make profit from just this move here, but I didn't get filled in due to spread. This entered, but it didn't fill me in. Nevertheless, we're looking for reasons to go low in this market. We're looking for reasons to go low, and right now I'm seeing a very not so trustworthy reason to go low yet. Not so trustworthy reason to go low, because I have a weekly demand zone right there, a very good clear weekly demand zone. So I want to see price break through this demand zone and retest. Then I would then I will watch for the information on the economic side and see whether I would short. Heading for the last guy on the table, the British pound Swiss franc. British pound Swiss franc, judging from my analysis, so Swiss franc against the British pounds. So observing the COT data here, we can see net position change. They were reducing the British pounds position, while they added more to the Swiss franc position. And you can look at it here, there was an additional change of shorts. There are still more longs than they are shorts in this market. Same thing with the, but we can't say the same thing for the pounds. We can't. The pounds is 8,000 shorts, 84,000 shorts, and 55,000 long. So they're going more shorts on the pounds and more long on the Swiss franc. Okay, this is good enough information. Looking at it here, we're seeing we're currently at negative 1.2 in strength. The level bias is neutral, so this is something you need to be watchful of. On level, in terms of economy against economy with the best set of news, they are neutral. But in terms of every other set of news, the Swiss franc is doing better than the British pounds because they are bearish. Okay, so let's look at what is going on based on Forest Factory. So by Forest Factory standard, overall the news is bearish, but the high impact news for the British pound has been coming out better than the Swiss franc. Same thing with the medium impact news. So I think it's coming from the low impact news. Okay, that is based on Forest Factory's analysis. So generally here, what I see here is there is more tendency to go down than to go up, and you can see I'm only following the strongest signals on my space. Now I'm looking at this market, and you can see this large drop here, and you can see it happening here again slowly. Now normally I'm supposed to take a trade here to sell in the first place, because I can see a very good weekly move. The 4 hours, I can see a reason why I ought to have been in this trade a long time ago. This is a short reason, and this is a long trade here. So I can see reasons why I waited, because I was waiting for a clear shift. I was waiting for this low to be taken. Now this low has been taken. I'm simply waiting for a clear push downwards. If I find a clear push downwards, I will be certain I can now take a short trade, putting myself well above this level, somewhere around here, and I'll aim for this as my first target and this as my next target. So first one is below 1:1, but the second one is about 1.8:1. So these are the 3 trades I am looking to take if the market prints a good move in the directions I am hoping to see. As time goes on, obviously the news comes in, changes happen, the calculator recalculates based on the new information produced by the news, and we'll have new directions. Probably some might join and some might fall off, and then we'll know, okay, so these are markets we're not supposed to be looking at anymore, and these are markets I'm supposed to be looking at anymore. But Whatever it is, I hope you learned something new. And if you are looking at other currencies, if you're looking at something else and you feel this has more viable potentials than what I have here, please do well to drop it in the comment. I would like to chat with you and see what direction is going. With this, I would like to say thank you for coming and peace. Catch you all on another one.